Hello people of the world, and welcome to today's episode of Coffee Chats with Jax. Today, February 14th, 2019 is the release date of my new book, Finding Home. I am waiting right now for the boxes to come in the mail. I've kind of been checking the door every 5 seconds because I'm so excited to just hold it in my hand. Oh my goodness, I can't even explain to you how hard I worked on this book and how excited I am to share this project with you. It's started off kind of as what I thought would be a geographical solution, like where was I supposed to live? Because when I started writing the book, I had just moved to Boston on a 3-day notice after a tour. Never even came back to Nashville to pack. I just went straight there. And so I kept finding myself in this conversation of what does home mean? Because I've moved so many times in my life, within each move, I've noticed that I had been chasing something. I've realized that when we grow up and we leave our parents' house and we leave where we find belonging and identity, it becomes a bit of a burden to find that somewhere else in the big real world. So I wrote a book about it called Finding Home, and I've written so many drafts of this book. I almost published my first one back in September, and I'm so happy that I didn't do that because it was not ready. I was way too close to the story for it to be ready to go. And to explain this book, there are 2 parts. Part 1 is called Adrift, and part 2 is called Lighthouse. Part 1 is called Adrift because it is where I pretty much lose myself. It is the half of the book that is like the decline, where I'm as far away from myself as I had ever been, and it's just one step after the next step, you just see me crumble. In each chapter in the first part, Adrift, is talking about different ways that I was looking for belonging. And then part 2 is called Lighthouse, which is pretty much post-Boston. It's when I start to put myself back together again. It's when I start to figure out who I am and step into my own shoes and become more of who Jackie actually is. And at the end of the day, I learned that looking for a home was really me looking for myself, learning how to get myself back, learning how to stop trying to be something else, to fit into something, to be accepted, to belong somewhere. All the chapters in the second part of the book, called Lighthouse Mere, the chapters in the first part of the book, Adrift, talking about the same ways that I'm looking for belonging, but in a more redemptive part. It's me learning and growing versus tumbling down to the ground. So I'm going to do a series on Finding Home where I discuss each chapter in both parts and how I've tried to find belonging in the different ways that they talk about. And in the first chapter of part 1 and part 2 is me looking for belonging in starting new, in the moving, in the running away. And like I said before, the running away and starting over in part 1 that initially began this whole book writing journey was my sudden move to Boston. I was on tour for about 2 months prior to that decision to move. And for those 2 months, I was stuck because I felt like I was homeless. I didn't know if I wanted to go back to Nashville at the end. I didn't know if I wanted to move back to LA. I didn't know what to do. And so that's why being on the road was so comforting to me. The reason I didn't want to go back to Nashville was because lots and lots of pain happened here the first go round. It was really hard. And it didn't really have anything to do with the city of Nashville. It was more just my personal problems. And so what I wanted to do, what I resorted to, was jumping to the next adventure, running to the next thing, instead of dealing with what was wrong here in Nashville, which really was just what was wrong in my own heart, my own body. I ran away to somewhere else to change the environment, to start fresh. By doing that, I thought I was going to leave my problems behind. I thought I would find my belonging by dumping all the old, avoiding it, and moving on to something new. I've moved across the country way too many times to be able to tell you otherwise that would work. I am the poster child for saying it does not, because the problems in Nashville wasn't Nashville. The problems in Nashville was me. They followed me along to the next spot. It's not wrong to move. It's not wrong to start over somewhere, to start fresh, to be excited, to meet new people, to make a new name in a new city. That's not the problem. The problem is the motive. I can't move somewhere with the intention of all my problems being fixed after it's done. Can't move somewhere with the intention of leaving everything else that happened before behind, because that's not what's real. And so in part 2, it was another fresh start. It was my exile, my escape out of Boston. It was after that happened, because I moved to Boston on a 3 days notice and I had to leave Boston on about a 2-hour-ish notice. Long story. Wrote a book about it. Anyway, it was a different kind of fresh start. It was one where I did not expect it to happen for multiple reasons, but it was another where all my insecurities, all my fears, everything was just in front of me. There was no more avoiding. I had hit the end of myself. I was crumbled to the ground and I had to start over, but I had to make a decision. Was I going to keep avoiding and keep hiding and keep looking for something to fix me in the new cities that I moved to? Or was I going to look inward and deal with my problems and know that whatever city I move to is not going to fix me because I'm not leaving anything behind. It's all in me right now. That's chapter 1 of part 1 and part 2 of Finding Home. It's been a journey. Oh my gosh, has it been a journey. If you guys want to order my book, Finding Home, I'm going to put a link in the description box below, or if you want to know more information about it, click that link or send me an email. I'd love to chat more. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to be talking about this a lot, so stay in the loop. So if you have questions, just keep watching these videos because odds are they might get answered. I could never do any of this stuff without each and every one of you. So thank you for watching my videos and reading my book and caring about what I have to say. You're giving my voice a purpose, and I cannot thank you enough. See you next week.